Hey YouTube, we're at the first annual Nova Scotia Bushcraft gathering, and I'll show you around a little bit, see some of the things that are going on. We had the Hants County emergency search and rescue team out here having a chat with us, and there's a couple other things happening. But on my way here, I found a pheasant that was hit by a car. And I think he's going to make it. So he's looking okay for now. We'll see how it goes. If he's in real good health tomorrow, then we'll take him back to where we found him and see if we can get him back with his family. If not, we'll turn him over to a wildlife rehab center. So this is the guy that put everything together for the annual Bushcraft gathering. This is Alan. I'd like to say thanks for putting this together. I'm sure you put a lot of work into this.
It's been interesting. It's been fun. I'm glad everyone showed up for it. Got some great names, great people. I've had no incidents. Next year's looks even bigger and better.
And you managed to get some people from YouTube here as well. How'd you pull that off?
Well, actually, Mike had contacted me, and when he heard about it, he made the first video. Mike Barton
from Bushcraft Bartons, yep.
And Wayne
Kulcraven from Kulcraven Bushcraft.
He ended up following suit and made a video of his own also.
Right, and you have a couple. You have a couple people here that are going to start YouTube channels.
Yes.
So we'll see about posting their links on the bottom if I can get them from them, and check them out. This is a great thing you did. I'd like to say thanks myself.
Thank you. It's going to be annual.
So check out for it next year. I'll put a link to the website on the bottom of the in the description, and feel free to check it out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for showing up.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
Sorry guys, I'm not really good at public speaking. I'm just kind of winging it here. I'm probably sweating way more than you guys.
You're doing fine.
So, for doing my letters on my patches, I like to have a reference. So I put my line on there and I do all my lettering from there. And I also got to leave enough room for my stitch marks. I won't go through the whole process, but I'll show you a step of each. So, you know, it prints quite easily.
Did you cut those strings out with a stamp, or did you cut them?
I actually took a 2.5-inch box end wrench and I turned it down and made a punch. I punch them instead of cutting them. All the oval ones are cut by hand, which is painstaking. Not a whole lot of fun, but I do it. Yeah. So this is where the maul is going to come in handy. These are just letter stamps. All different letters. They come in different fonts, different sizes. You just give her a little whack.
And you want to hit it once, not 3 times.
Well,
right?
yeah, sometimes you got to re-register and you got to be careful because it'll give you a little shadow if you're not quite perfect. So you're doing that all the way around. I'll get one word on there. Sort of get yourself referenced next to the next letter.
Jamie, are you lining them up individually by eye, or are you going
all by eye? I reference the bottom onto the line and compared to the next letter on the edge. When you get into the A's and the V's, where especially where an A and a V is like that, you actually gotta, it takes a little bit of work, you actually gotta compress it a little bit or it gets all out of whack. About the point of my biggest thing that I see all the time, and I've seen many times, when they were talking about don't rub somebody who's cold. Does anybody know why they say that? It's a thing that a lot of us have done, you know, especially with our children. If they get cold, and instantly our reaction is want to turn around, touch them, and start rubbing them to try to warm them up. Why they say that's not a good idea to do?
Causes vasodilation and that blood flow to come away from the organ.
That's one reason, yes, absolutely. The other reason, the big reason, is a lot of people not knowing properly how to diagnose or see like frostbite. First stage, second stage, third stage frostbite. When you start to get frostbite, it's basically the moisture in your body actually starts to freeze on the outside of your skin. Because of that dilation, your body's basically turning on and trying to pull all the blood that it can pull from your extremities, so your hands, your feet, your legs, and bring it to your core to turn on, keep your core warm. So us doing that, trying to warm them, you can actually turn on a cause of somebody's second stage frostbite can actually start rubbing and causing that ice to start cutting on the inside of the skin and cause more damage. That's another reason why they say never rub. The water, things like that, like we were talking about too, with hypothermia in different stages. Another thing, you know, your hands are cold. You could be, you know, first stage, second stage hypothermia and still be totally fine and conscious, you know, aware that you're cold and the whole bit. And another myth, everybody put your hands under warm water. It's a bad thing to do because that person physically does not know what the temperature of the water is. You can cause burns. Cold water, some people, I've heard people say, oh, put it under cold water, you know, or cool water, and turn around and try to warm the body up. There's another bad thing because of the fact of being, you can cause that hypothermia to get even worse because it's going to constrict the arteries again to turn around and think that the body's getting colder instead of warming up, and it pulls even more blood to the core and starts shutting things down, the vital organs and stuff like that. I explained that kind of good.
One of the courses I took on hypothermia, they said that 20% of people who are rescued die after recovery, and in a lot of cases it's due to rough treatment, like
Yes.
getting them out of the water and then taking them by the arms and legs and running up to the cottage, and you're shaking them and you're stirring the blood up, and the blood goes from the extremities to the core, and otherwise if they had been handled properly there would have been a greater chance of survival. That the rough handling is a very significant factor, like the rubbing, like you're saying,
Yeah.
and just rough handling can
Yeah.
lead to that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's why my biggest thing I always turn around and say when somebody asks me about it or whatever is, if you're not, if you've not physically gone through any kind of training on hypothermia, best thing to do is to turn around and call medical right away. You know, call 911. If you've got enough knowledge that, you know, like you say, if they fell in a lake, let's say, and they got out of the water on top of the ice or whatever, the best thing you could do is just a blanket or something, or a sleeping bag, and throw over them to try to leave the stuff that's on them, because even though it's wet, it could be still insulating and keeping their core. So you put something drier over top of them. That's another misconception. A lot of people think, oh, because it's wet, take it off immediately. Well, depending on what it is, and depending on the stage, you know, that can make a big difference. You know, if it's, once again, if you're in normal or moderate, you know, you're pretty much, you could be in normal first stage or second stage, we'll put it that way, and still be able to walk around, know that you're wet, and start taking your clothes off, and you know, get your layers worked out and gradually warm your body up by, you know, warm drink or something like that. Not a hot drink, not hot coffee or anything, something warm, like warm water is a good thing. And drinking, because the person's caught, getting all tongue-tied. They're conscious, so they know what's going on. They know they're cold a little bit. Whereas when you get into the deeper stages, people start, you know.
So here we have Mike from Bushcraft Bartons and his wife Josie.
Nice to meet you.
They're out here at the annual Bushcraft gathering as well. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you.
You traveled a long ways to come.
No, it's not so bad. About 10 hours, 10 to 11 hours. But, you know, we stopped in New Brunswick.
Yeah, Cumberland.
Cumberland, yeah. We had a rest there. Now, we're actually on vacation.
Yeah.
So, we'll be here about 2 weeks. Cape Breton, and all that stuff there.
Excellent.
So,
Well, thanks for coming.
well,
Thank
very
you.
nice.
Thank you. We're glad to be here.
I'd like to say a special hello to Blaze and Remy. Hi. Is that okay?
Is that the mental youth or the physical youth?
All kinds of youth.
What's a youth? Teenagers. Okay.
Well, that bird seemed to have made a good comeback. So I brought him back to where I found him originally. And hopefully he'll get back to his family. So I'm by the road where I found him. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to show him to you, and then when I release him I'm going to make sure that he goes away from the road. So you may not get to see all of it. But there he is here. He's quite perky. And we're going to try and get him down in there. But he's definitely made a good comeback. So he must have only been winged a little bit. I'm quite happy to see him back in good shape.
If you win, it's the forester.
So we have to raise our hand?
You're going to raise your hand if you know the answer. If you don't, it's a very simple one too. Well, it's about trees. You should maybe this guy here shouldn't be in here. But anyway.
That's why I'm holding his arms down.
Okay.
I've got duct tape.
Okay. Let's get on with this. Ready?
He's holding my arms down.
Now we all know there's deciduous. Hey. We all know there's deciduous trees, right? What's the other one? No. That's not the answer. What's the other one?
Coniferous.
Okay. So, deciduous trees are the trees with the leaves. Deciduous means falling off. We all know that. Now, there's one tree that exists. Let me go back. Coniferous trees are the needles. Okay? Deciduous are the leaves that fall. There is one tree. Now, remember, it's the hand that has to go up. There is one tree that's no, not right away.
Can we answer in French?
Yeah, you can. There's one tree that is deciduous and coniferous in North America and in the UK. What is it? I saw this guy up first. What is it?
Me?
Yeah?
Is it a U?
Nope. What? There's too many at the same time. Okay. Yeah, I saw him.
Larch or Hackmatack?
Tamarack. Yeah, I'm going to give you the larch. It's tamarack. There you go, sir.
My name's Peter from FSBushcraft, and Cody, which has been in a lot of the videos and stuff like that. This is kind of what we're doing is the cold weather dress. I did a whole series last year that I turned on, the year before, that I turned on did on cold weather dress from my experience with the military and being up in Igloolik as well as Alert up in tongue-tied, at sea, butterfly, North Atlantic. And a lot of it actually, from that use in our area of bushcraft, a lot of people turn around and talk about, they don't go out in the winter time because it's too cold and they can't enjoy it and stuff like that because they can't dress properly or know what it is. So that's what kind of gave me the idea that I put together this a series on my channel on how you can still dress if you dress properly with the layers and avoid things like hypothermia. A lot of people call it hyperthermia. Hypothermia is when you're cold. Hyper is when you have heat stroke, prime example. Most of this, I do want to say right off the start now, I was qualified back 21 years ago. So a lot of it's still knowledge that I just have, and it's why I just like to share and pass on to people, kind of give them, you know, a better understanding of how to deal with hypothermia if, you know, you started getting in the, you know, first stage or second stage where you're pretty much okay if you know how to respond properly and react to it, and, you know, get yourself out of that situation or whatever the case may be. But if, you know, with everything else, definitely if you want to get deeper into it and look more into it, definitely, you know, talk to, you know, doctor or somebody who's qualified, currently qualified or whatever. But we'll start. I've got a little video that's just real short and basically explains what hypothermia is and how your body reacts when you try and get cold.
Further away than I used to.
The only good use for railroad spikes.
Yeah. Walmart flip-flop. Get rid of those. They melt, apparently. Watch the blast. Hope the lens.
Yeah.
The blast is right about there. Take the lens right off your camera, so be careful. These forges even scare the glass blowers a little bit.
And that when I was actually my father was a veteran.
So I'd seen those.
So of course I
And
was
I'm like,
in the
oh, she could stop by those days.
you know, real